"That baby isn't mine," my husband yelled, seeing our newborn. Nurse whispered, "He's planning something, you must escape." I fled. "He's still hunting us." I'm Gabriella White. It was many years ago that I got acquainted with Wally, thanks to a mutual acquaintance at college. I was a part of the university hiking club back then, and Wally was also a member. As we trekked through the wilderness, climbing mountains and exploring forests, we became closer, and our feelings for each other blossomed amid the beautiful surroundings. One afternoon, during a lengthy hike, we discovered a gorgeous lake. While we were eating our packed lunch near the water's edge, Wally unexpectedly turned to me and said, "Gabriella, the time I spend with you is just wonderful." He then added, "I want to be with you always." I was completely taken aback but overjoyed, and that instant became the start of our romance. Years passed, and we got married and constructed a fulfilling life together. Wally was a dedicated engineer, and I was employed at the community library. We always supported and cherished each other, delighting in the little pleasures in life. But lately, I had started to feel uneasy about how Wally was acting. He wasn't home as often, staying out late, always blaming his job's pressures. Then our daughter, Ivy, arrived. She was the child we had dreamed of for so long, and her arrival infused our world with so much happiness. After giving birth, I rested in the hospital bed, cradling Ivy, feeling both tired and happy. Without warning, Wally came into the room. He had a serious, unfamiliar look on his face. As soon as he saw Ivy, he suddenly started yelling, "That baby isn't mine, I don't want her." I was completely stunned by those words. I gazed at Wally with utter disbelief, completely unable to grasp why he'd say such horrible things. Wally had previously thought I was cheating, and I figured those thoughts of his must have intensified over time. But there was no question in my mind that Ivy was our child. His hurtful words cut me to the core. Right then and there, Nurse Veronica came towards me. Her face seemed like a mix of worry and firmness. "That little one, Gabriella, is truly unique. You have to escape right this instant." I was puzzled by what she said, but Wally's weird actions scared me, so I grabbed Ivy and got out of there. As I made my way down the hospital corridor, Wally's words kept replaying themselves in my mind and my heart was racing. I squeezed Ivy tightly to me. Nurse Veronica, who had been running after me as I tried to grasp the situation, caught up to me. She usually soothed me with her usual warm smile, but now worry and a sense of needing me to hurry covered her face. "Gabriella." Her voice sounded urgent. "Veronica, why would Wally say those things?" I stammered, my voice almost cracking. Veronica put her hands on my shoulders firmly and said with a serious look on her face, "Gabriella, listen up. Your baby, Ivy, is exceptional. I can't fully explain everything right now, but she is incredibly important." "What do you mean she is special?" I struggled to follow Veronica's words, even though I was confused. "There's no time to explain everything. Based on Wally's odd behavior, I'm positive he's planning something horrible." Fear showed in Veronica's eyes. "Gabriella, you need to get Ivy and get out of here. Get in my car. I'm so sorry." I clutched Ivy and did as Veronica told me. The frantic words of the woman and Wally's yells echoed inside my skull, and I felt deeply unsettled. However, keeping Ivy safe was the most important thing I could do at this moment. I quickly followed Veronica toward the doors that led outside the hospital. People, patients, and medical staff alike stared at us with confused looks as we went down the hall. Veronica, without a word, shoved the doors open. A blast of icy air hit us. We practically sprinted to Veronica's car, which was waiting in the parking area, and she immediately turned the key, starting the vehicle. From my vantage point in the back, clutching Ivy close, I looked at Veronica's shoulders and said, "I really appreciate what you're doing, Veronica." She glanced back at me via the rearview mirror and gave a small smile. "No problem at all, Gabriella. My priority is your safety and Ivy's as well." Veronica's car eventually turned into a calm neighborhood filled with houses. She carefully maneuvered the car into a parking space and faced me, telling me we needed a moment to gather our thoughts. We needed time to determine our next steps before we returned to my place. I took a long, calming breath, holding Ivy tightly and trying to calm my anxieties. "I'm grateful for your support, Veronica. You're really helping me." Veronica offered a kind smile. "There's a chance some vital information might be at your place. Whenever you feel ready, we can go back." I watched Ivy's little face for a bit. She was sound asleep, and her presence gave me some measure of peace. "We need to go back home and safeguard Ivy." As I said this, Veronica gave a slight nod and started the car again. A few minutes passed, and we were pulling up to my house. From the outside, everything looked completely ordinary. I thanked Veronica again, got out of the car, and took Ivy inside my house. The interior of the house felt refreshingly cold, a stillness pervading everything. I gently placed Ivy onto the living room couch and surveyed the space. As I searched for anything amiss, Wally's words and Veronica's caution continued to echo within my thoughts. My next move was to go to Wally's study. He often occupied this room, so it seemed a good place to look for leads. Stepping into the study, my eyes landed on a jumble of books and papers strewn across the desk. I carefully opened the drawers, exploring the area further. That's when a diary caught my attention. I grabbed it and began to flip through the pages. The initial page revealed the title, Wally's Diary. I held my breath as I kept reading. The diary's contents showed entries about Wally's suspicion that I was cheating and his belief that Ivy wasn't his biological daughter. Moreover, it contained writings about Ivy's rare medical condition and Wally's intentions to capitalize on this information once he recognized its potential for research. I felt a mix of rage and sorrow welling up inside as my hands started trembling. Wally didn't consider Ivy his child and instead viewed her as a potential source of income. Suddenly, I heard the front door open. Wally was home. I slammed the diary shut quickly and went back to the living room, but Wally appeared to have seen something. His gaze turned cold as he locked eyes with me and asked, "Did you enter my room?" Since I'd been noticed, concealing it was pointless. I made the decision to confront him with the truth then and there to safeguard Ivy. I looked at Wally's diary and with a stern tone I questioned his actions. "What made you concoct a scheme like this? Ivy is, after all, our little girl." Wally slumped onto the couch with a heavy sigh. "Gabriella, you probably won't see it this way, but this is for the long term, for the days to come. You intended to exploit Ivy, didn't you? How could you even consider that?" My tone became louder. Wally responded in a level voice, "Ivy's illness is incredibly uncommon. It has significant research potential and could generate a lot of money. It's all about the bottom line." His explanation enraged me. "Ivy is not just some asset for financial gain. She's our beloved child. How can you even think of doing something so terrible?" Wally just gave me a blank stare. "If I make use of Ivy's condition, my life will be totally transformed. She is a unique being, but that doesn't justify exploiting her. She isn't your lab rat," I yelled, fighting back the tears. "I'll defend Ivy with everything I have, no matter what it takes." Wally gave a humorless laugh and stood up. "It won't matter what you do, it's all for naught. You can't stop this from happening." I understood just how detached and self-serving Wally had become. He wasn't the Wally I had known for so long anymore. I knew I had to defend Ivy. I yelled out, "I'll do anything to keep Ivy safe. I will definitely put a stop to your plan, one way or another." Wally resumed his emotionless expression and said in a composed voice, "Is that so? In that case, there's nothing to be done. Everything would be easily resolved if you just gave me Ivy, but is that really what you want?" "I will never give Ivy to you," I said with immense firmness. "She's my daughter and she needs to be kept safe." The air in the living room was thick with unspoken feelings. Wally just looked at me, quiet as can be, for a long moment. He then took a really deep breath. His face was set like he'd come to some important decision. "Gabriella, it seems like I need to spell things out for you," he whispered. I listened carefully to what he had to say. Wally turned his gaze away from me and started talking while looking out the window. "I don't think Ivy is my daughter. You recall how I thought you might have cheated on me before. I just couldn't get rid of that doubt." Heart seemed to clench with both shock and a deep sadness. "Wally, that was just a feeling," I said. "I never did anything like that." "But I have nothing to make me think otherwise," Wally kept on. "When I found out Ivy had this unusual medical problem, those feelings just got bigger. If she were really my kid, she wouldn't have something like that. It has to be that I'm not her dad." "Is that why you used Ivy?" I didn't have the strength to deny what he said anymore. Wally just gave a nod. "Correct. When I knew Ivy's condition could be useful for research, I started planning how I could make some money off it. I thought it was the only way I could make sure I was secure in the future." Unable to keep my anger in check, I raised my voice. "I don't want any kind of future that involves using Ivy like this." Wally gave a scornful laugh and responded, "Ivy is a valuable object. The rare condition she has offers really useful information to researchers. By using this, I could get a really amazing future. You might not understand, but this is how business is done." I didn't want to listen anymore. I was screaming through my tears. I felt like this was completely inexcusable. I didn't add another word. After that, I lifted Ivy into my arms and started to walk towards the front door. "Where do you think you're off to?" Wally asked, his voice icy. Without even glancing back, I replied that I was taking Ivy somewhere that she would be protected, away from him. Wally remained silent. With Ivy cradled in my arms, I pushed the front door open. Blackness of the night surrounded us, making the stress of this escape even more intense. The instant I was outside, I recalled what Veronica had said. "Gabriella, that little girl is extraordinary." Her words motivated me as I rushed to climb into the car. When I turned the key and drove off, my thoughts raced about where I could possibly go to keep Ivy safe. The first place that sprang to mind was Veronica's house. She would definitely help us. Suddenly, Wally's vehicle appeared in my rearview mirror. He was chasing us. My pulse was racing and my hands were slick with sweat. I knew I had to get away no matter what to ensure Ivy's safety. I hit the gas and drove faster along the twisty roads. Wally's car was still right behind me, relentlessly tailing. I was absolutely terrified and tense. I could see Veronica's house coming into view. I pulled up in front, quickly knocked on the door while holding Ivy. The door swung open, and Veronica greeted us with a look of surprise. "Gabriella, what's wrong?" Veronica asked, her face etched with concern. I responded breathlessly, "Wally is after us. Please, please help us, Veronica." Veronica immediately understood the situation, ushered us inside, and slammed the door shut. "You're safe here now, don't worry," Veronica reassured me gently, resting her hand on my shoulder. I contacted law enforcement. With tears streaming down my face, I told Veronica how thankful I was. "Veronica, I can't thank you enough. I'm so grateful. It's okay, Gabriella." Suddenly, Wally's yelling erupted from outside. He was pounding on the door and screaming, demanding Ivy back. Even though I was terrified, Veronica's words gave me strength. "Gabriella, love always triumphs," she said. "We will fight to keep Ivy safe." The inside of Veronica's house was peaceful, a total opposite of the chaos outside. As Ivy peacefully slept in my embrace, I was a bundle of nerves. "Gabriella, first, let's stay collected," Veronica said gently. "We have to figure out how to protect Ivy with a clear mind." "Thank you, Veronica. However, Wally isn't the type to give up easily. He'll go to any lengths to get Ivy," I answered with a voice that shook. Veronica gave a nod of agreement. "Let's stay here until the authorities get here. As long as we're together, Ivy is safe." Those words gave me a little bit of comfort, but I still couldn't fully relax because I knew how relentless Wally could be. Veronica made us something to drink and reassured me, telling me to remain calm. "Can you tell me more about Wally's schemes?" Veronica asked. I nodded, and I started describing everything I had discovered in Wally's journal. I shared his plans to make money off of Ivy's health and his plan to use her as a research subject for scientists. Veronica listened intently. "That is truly awful," Veronica said with a sigh. "Once the cops show up, we'll be able to reveal what Wally's plotting." Suddenly, we could hear the sound of sirens approaching. The police had made it. Veronica unlocked the door and started telling the officers what was happening. I stayed put in the living room, keeping Ivy close. After a short while, a police officer walked into the living room and spoke to me softly. "Mrs. White," he said, "we're here to keep you safe. Could you please explain more about what your husband was planning?" So I talked to him about Wally's journal and everything it held, making sure to give them everything to protect Ivy. The officers listened closely and started taking action. "We understand," he responded. "Rest assured, we'll do whatever it takes to prevent his plans," he said, trying to calm me down. Veronica sat beside me, putting her hand on my shoulder to comfort me. "Gabriella, everything's going to be okay now. The police are taking care of it, so just hold on a little while longer." Veronica found some warm blankets for us and was so nice, trying to make me feel better. "Gabriella, you are a very strong mother. You are doing everything in your power to keep Ivy safe. Your bravery is inspiring," she told me, smiling. Her words brought tears to my eyes. Clutching Ivy close, I felt very thankful for Veronica's help. I felt even more determined to keep Ivy safe, no matter what it took. Hours after the police had come to Veronica's house, my emotions were a mixture of worry and optimism. Veronica just kept being there for us. With the clock on the wall seeming to tick incredibly slow, I held Ivy in my arms. Suddenly, the police radio crackled with a serious message. They had the target. I could finally relax a little. Wally was in custody. A police officer came into the room and gave me a reassuring smile. "Mrs. White, we apprehended your husband. Both you and Ivy are secure now." Hearing this, I let out a relieved breath. Veronica sat beside me, placing her hand on my shoulder as a show of support. She told me I could finally unwind. The officers described the specifics of Wally's apprehension and the next steps in the process. They said he'd be accused of exploiting Ivy's illness to make money. They also explained the threats he made would be treated with the utmost seriousness. I held Ivy close, grateful that Wally would be held accountable legally. I expressed my gratitude for keeping Ivy safe. The officer acknowledged my thanks, saying it was their duty. They emphasized that my well-being was the priority. Veronica gave my hand a firm squeeze and said that I could start anew. We could focus on living for Ivy. Just then, the front door opened and Wally was brought in, hands restrained. There wasn't any guilt on his face, just icy eyes staring at us. As he was shoved into the police vehicle, Wally spoke his parting words. "Gabriella, this isn't over." He added that he wouldn't give up and to remember that. Even though his words caused a flash of fear, I immediately remembered what Veronica had told me. "Gabriella, you're a resilient mom. You're giving Ivy your absolute best protection. You're incredibly brave." As I heard the patrol car's engine fade away, I was again resolved to guard Ivy. I was resolute in my commitment to put everything I had into creating a new life with Ivy, not letting Wally's intimidation win. Veronica offered a smile next to me and said, You can truly unwind now. You and Ivy are secure. Within the calm of Veronica's living room, I grasped at the newfound hope with Ivy near me. With Wally in custody, our future seemed hopeful once again. Overwhelmed with appreciation for Veronica's backing and the rapid action of the police, I clung tightly to my resolve to live powerfully for Ivy. Several weeks passed following Wally's arrest, and our daily routines slowly started to feel more settled. Veronica kept on providing us with unwavering support. We relocated to a secure location and decided to put Ivy's well-being and joy at the top of our list. Our new home was nestled in a peaceful neighborhood, featuring a big yard where Ivy was able to have fun without any restrictions. Veronica visited us often, supporting us in our new life. Her presence brought more solace than any words could possibly convey. One day, as I played with Ivy in the garden, each time I saw her smile, I felt like playing with Ivy in the garden. I knew all of our struggles had been worth it. Even though Ivy was still little, her eyes shone with optimism about what lay ahead. "Ivy, look, the flowers are blossoming," I told her with a smile. Ivy clapped her tiny hands with pure glee. That sweet, guileless grin just melted me. Veronica dropped by my place that night. She cooked us supper, and we all sat down at the table together. Having her around brightened up things, and we became even closer as time went on. "Gabriella, I'm so impressed with how resilient you've been, especially for Ivy," Veronica said, smiling gently. "Thanks, Veronica," I said, "but I couldn't have managed any of this without your help." "It's all because of you," I said, feeling grateful. After we ate, I put Ivy to bed and tucked her in. She drifted off right away, and watching her sleep so soundly gave me a sense of optimism about what was ahead. While we had tea in the living room with Veronica, we talked about where we were headed. We promised each other to work together to create a secure and promising future for Ivy. "We need to learn more about Ivy's health issues and consider how to handle it all," Veronica said in a serious tone. "Yes, we'll do everything we possibly can, making Ivy's well-being our #1 concern," I responded, feeling more determined than ever. That night, lying in bed, I thought about all the rough times we'd lived through, yet at the same time I felt a fresh wave of hope. I was so thankful we were safe from Wally's threats and could begin a new chapter with Ivy. Our lives kept progressing, though little by little. As Ivy got bigger, the connection between Veronica and me grew, and our friendship became even deeper. We learned more and more about Ivy's medical situation, and we took steps to protect her health. I made a promise to keep going, mainly because of Ivy. Love conquers everything, that's what I believe. I'm certain that we'll eventually have a bright and promising future, the one Ivy and I would build together.